Fun with History number 18. Fun with History number 18 with Professor Banks. Wow, hey there guys. Nice to finally get together with you guys over some tea. I hope you guys are doing well. It's been a long time since we've gotten together. Nothing I like better than having some tea with my good friends here. How are y'all doing well? Are you two doing well? It's been very busy for me. Never get a chance to get a break. Never get a break at all. Busy, busy, busy. Yeah. How about those Red Sox, eh? Yeah. We're in Boston and the Red Sox are doing awesome this year, eh? Make sure you drink some tea, guys. The tea's good. Let's get some tea in. Here, I'll give you some tea, okay? Here's some tea for you. Isn't that good? What do you guys think of the tea? Here, I gotta take another drink of this tea as well. Oh my gosh! What's wrong with this tea, guys? It's disgusting, don't you think? Yeah! Something wrong with it. Horrible. Horrible. I got an idea. Let's go down to the harbor and dump all this tea down in the harbor. What do you guys think? Let's dump it all. Let's all go down to the harbor and dump it into the water. Are you guys in? Let's go! Welcome to Fun with History number 18. This is called Let's Have a Tea Party. And I hope you guys liked that little introduction to get you into this lesson this week on a tea party. But this lesson is actually going to be all about the United States of America. So we're actually going to be on American soil for this lesson. And we haven't had too many lessons like that. So just give me a second. I'm going to move my friends out of here so that we can get set up for the lesson. And we're going to get the music going. There we go. Okay. Without further ado, and I hope you liked my sign, welcome to Boston. Let's introduce our history lesson this week. Welcome to Fun with History with Professor Banks. And today, whoops, I lost my globe. Not cool. Okay, today on Fun with History, the lesson's called Let's Have a Tea Party, as our introduction alluded to. And I am drinking some tea here. I like tea. I drink it every day, so tea's good. And I'm going to have some during the lesson. Alright, so let's get into our joke of the week. Joke of the week is going to be on the short point this week because I want to make sure we cover our material in a good amount of time. So I am going to give you some one-liners this week. A few one-liners are kind of funny, so I hope you like them, okay? Okay, some one-liners here for you people. Okay, here we go. These are just one-liners. Ground beef. A cow with no legs. A mouse is just an elephant built by the Japanese. A waste is a terrible thing to mind. Cole's Law. Thinly sliced cabbage. I used to think I was indecisive, but now I'm not sure. My reality check just bounced. And here's the best one of them all. Energizer Bunny arrested, charged with battery. So some one-liners here to get you going on this day. And it's appropriate enough, we're talking about, what we're talking about today is the American Revolution. So we looked at the revivals of the 1700s last week. We're still in the 1700s, but this is the second thing that you see as an impact from this age of enlightenment where all these new ideas started to be born and developed. The American Revolution. Or at the end of the revolution, what actually happens is the official birth of the United States of America. So, to put it in perspective, here on the globe, United States. Everybody can see that? United States. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And the American Revolution was kind of a long conflict. And you know what? It's July 4th on Monday as well. So this is why this is a great lesson for this week, because July 4th is all about the Declaration of Independence and Independence Day, of course. So happy 4th of July to all American friends out there who may be watching this video. We just celebrated Canada Day here yesterday. So anyway, let me talk to you about this American Revolution for you, okay? So, what we got going on here is Let's Have a Tea Party, the name of the lesson. So let's start off with 1754, okay? Let's start off with that. 7 Years' War between France and Britain. Fought over disputed territory in North America. So that is the first key of the American Revolution, because you see what happened was when North America was colonized, it was colonized by Britain, France, and Spain, okay? So what happened was, in 1754, France and Britain were starting to get into a lot of squabbles and arguments over disputed territory in North America. So they fought over it. They were like, you know what? I think we own this territory. You own that territory. We own. So they fought over it 7 years. Now what happened at the end of the 7 years is Great Britain won. But Great Britain, as a result of this 7 years of fighting, was heavily in debt. So what they decided to do, 1765 comes along. 1765. They invent a thing called the Stamp Act. Okay? The Stamp Act. Here we go. I even got a stamp here for you. So, there's a Canadian stamp right there. So, the Stamp Act. So, what the Stamp Act was all about was a way for Britain to get out of their debt. And so, what they did, there's 13 colonies right now in America. North America. They weren't called the USA at this point, remember. It's just North America. 13 colonies there. So Britain decided to directly tax them by the Stamp Act. And what they did with the Stamp Act was they put a tax on, they required you to put a stamp on things like legal papers, newspapers, and even playing cards, if you can believe that. Playing cards. They put a stamp on those things. And so what happened as a result of the Stamp Act was two things. Number one, the profit they got from the Stamp Act, it basically, the profits went straight to the king in Britain. Okay, number one. And number two, what happened was the colonists of North America did not like this Stamp Act. They did not like it one bit, and they strongly opposed to it. And this is where you might have heard of this saying. There's a saying that comes out of this. No taxation without representation. Otherwise, it's tyranny. No taxation without representation. Okay, so what they were saying was, hey, listen, we don't have any representatives over there in Britain. We don't have colonist representatives in the Britain government. So this tax is not right. It's tyranny. So that's how the colonists respond with that. So you could see the start of some bitter conflict happening here, can you not? Okay, so the Stamp Act passed as a result of the 7 Years' War between Britain and France. More tea. More tea. Tea's great. Okay. So, what happened was, of course, they refused this Stamp Act, and by the expression that I just gave you. But, of course, there was a counter-reaction by the Britons. Okay, the British were pretty strong, too, so they counter-reacted, and they said, okay, that's fine. Okay, no taxation without representation. You don't like this stamp thing. Okay, that's fine. What we're going to start doing then is we're going to start imposing taxes on custom duty imported, highly used Britain goods. And goods that they couldn't get their hands on any other way because it came right from Britain. So this was known as the Townshend Acts. Okay? Townshend Acts. And this was in 1765 as well. And so what they put taxes on was things like what I'm drinking, tea, and paper, and lead, and paint, and glass, things that are very strong in Britain. So they put taxes on those, and they said, here you go, colonists, we're going to put taxes on those. So Britain counter-reacted, and what do you think happened? What do you think happened? Of course the colonists didn't like this, and they will counter-react to this. So, first of all, what happened was the British people were pretty smart, and they were like, you know what? I don't think these colonists are going to like this either. But you know what we're going to do? You know what we're going to do? We're going to send 4,000 British troops over to Massachusetts to threaten people. So Boston, Massachusetts, hence my sign. Welcome to Boston. So what happened was they did that, and then on March 5th, 1770, there was another important event that happened in this revolution, the Boston Massacre. And now, that's kind of a really harsh name to give an event, because it wasn't really, compared to today's standards, it wasn't really a big massacre. 5 colonists lost their lives that day on March 5th, 1770 at Boston because of opposition to the amount of British troops that were down there. So 5 colonists lost their lives. So, and obviously that kind of simmered for a while, and what happened was it simmered over to such a point on December 16th, 1773, we have something called the Boston Tea Party. We were having a tea party earlier with my friends, remember that? We were drinking tea. And I was alluding to the Boston Tea Party in that little illustration. Because you see, what happened in the Boston Tea Party was, essentially what happened was, they're sitting around, okay, the colonists and the ships, the British ships are all at port in the sea, in the ocean, on the harbor, and they decided, you know what? we can do something really big here. Why don't we sneak onto those ships? And we're going to just get to the tea on the ship, and we're going to just dump it all over into the harbor. We're going to get that tea and do that. So they were successful at doing that. They got on the ships and in total dumped 342 chests of tea into the harbor, the Boston Tea Party. So the colonists were feeling pretty good about that. They counter-reacted in a big way to the British, and they're like, yeah, you know what? We got them good. But what happened was, of course, the British found out about it, and the British, they weren't no dummies, obviously, and they knew it was colonists that did this. So they were like, you know what? Okay, you got rid of all this tea. So what we're going to do, we're going to pass another act. We're going to pass these acts called the Intolerable Acts. And so they were quite lengthy, the Intolerable Acts, but basically a lot of acts that really put a lot of restriction on the colonists. Basically restrictions like, you know what? You can't even come this close to the harbor at all. You can't come within this much perimeter of the harbor. You can't go here, or you can't go here. So these were called the Intolerable Acts. And of course, wasn't taken very well by the colonists. And so what they ended up doing was, okay, I'm going to get back to something here for you. I'm going to read something off an article I have. What they did was they had the First Continental Congress in 1774. So basically, they set up their own alternative government, the colonists, to better coordinate the resistance efforts against Great Britain. But other colonists, some of the colonists, they became known as loyalists, preferred to remain aligned to the British Crown. Okay? So what happened with this First Continental Congress was there was a lot of prominent people as part of it, including John Adams and George Washington, two important key figures in American history. They came up with a Declaration of Rights that would protect them, but also try to keep Britain in the picture. So that was the first step they did. So they were trying to find a way to remain loyal to Britain and also find a way to dispute Britain's right to tax them. So they wanted to balance that out, okay? We should remain loyal to the British, but these taxes are crazy. We need to find a way to do something about these taxes. Tensions escalated to the outbreak of fighting between Patriot and British at places called Lexington and Concord in April 1775. And then it evolved into a global war. And the war in which the colonists and their French, Spanish, and Dutch allies fought the British and the Loyalists in what became known as the American Revolutionary War. Patriots in each of the 13 colonies formed provincial congresses that assumed power from the old colonial governments and suppressed loyalism. And actually, the Second Continental Congress, Second Continental Congress was in 1775, and it was at the Second Continental Congress that they developed a Continental Army under the leadership of General George Washington. And the Continental Congress declared the colonies free and independent states in July 1776. And I'm going to talk about this in a couple minutes, but basically we had this big American Revolutionary War that lasted for 8 years. Finally, the U.S. started to get ahead in that. The British were forced out of Boston in 1776, but then captured and held New York City for the duration of the war. The British blockaded the ports and captured other cities for brief periods, but failed to defeat Washington's forces. In early 1778, following a failed Patriot invasion of Canada, a British army was captured at the Battle of Saratoga, following which the French openly entered the war as allies of the United States. The war later turned to the American South, where the British captured an army at South Carolina, but failed to enlist enough volunteers from loyalist civilians to take effective control. There's a lot of information here. It was a big thing. I'm just trying to go over it quickly. But basically what ended up happening was this was a good thing because it ended up into the birth of the United States of America. And you may ask, how did the American Revolution end? Basically what happened was it ended because the British got tired of fighting the whole world. Also because of politics within the British government. In fact, in some circles, the American Revolution has been called Britain's Vietnam. So what ended up happening was Britain, because of all the allies that the colonists got, the British were in a sense fighting the whole world, and the British were getting tired of it. They were getting weary of fighting all these people. Loss of political will in London led to the end of the war. The Brits thought this would be over quick, but instead they were fighting France, Holland, and Spain all over the world. And that's British were already in debt with their 7-year war with France, so the money wasn't really that big of they didn't have a lot of money to go to for more war. So in essence, the U.S. didn't truly win, but the U.K. merely chose to give up, cut their losses, and get out with the best deal they can get. Okay, so that's what happened there. So in 1776, we have the birth of the United States of America. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed? There you go, the beginning of the Star-Spangled Banner. So the Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, 1776. Thus, that's why you have the 4th of July. The states then had to try to form a union and come up with a constitution, make concessions on certain issues, establish a government, and an electoral process. But they signed the Declaration of Independence on 1776, July 4th. What happened was there was a treaty as well that came as a result of this. I got it here. It was a treaty called the Treaty of Paris in 1783 that formally ended the conflict, that really confirmed the new nation's complete separation from the British Empire. And the United States took possession of nearly all the territory east of the Mississippi River and south of the Great Lakes, with Britain still retaining control over Canada and Spain taking Florida. So, this is what happened with the American Revolution, in essence. So, the things I think that are key to the American Revolution, obviously, is the things that are key would be the taxation that started to be put on the colonists, the Stamp Act, the Townshend Acts, that led to revolt from the colonists. And then there just seemed to be reaction on each side. The Boston Tea Party, the Boston Massacre. We ended up into a full-fledged American Revolutionary War. But Britain didn't really think that it would be this hard. And Britain really lost their financial stability and lost their will to continue fighting that. So they gave up. The U.S. kind of got born. Declaration of Independence. And this is how the United States of America became the nation that they are. So I hope that made all sense to you. As I said, it's a lot of stuff that happened, but the Boston Tea Party is kind of cool. I like the Boston Tea Party. I think, that's kind of a crazy thing that, to think of just going onto ships and dumping a whole bunch of tea off the ships into the harbor, but that's what happened in the Boston Tea Party, which really ignited, I think it was the big thing that ignited the whole American Revolutionary War and ended up leading ultimately to the birth of the United States of America in 1776. So that is the American Revolution. Now there's another revolution that comes as a result of this American Revolution, and we're going to go back over the ocean for that one. Okay, so we're going to go back over the ocean, and we're going to go here. Okay, we're going to go to France, but that's for next week. So what happens is they see what happened in America, and they think, because actually America really wanted to be independent, and they wanted the bottom class wanted to be just as equal as the top class in society. That was another big factor of the American Revolution. Equality. And those were ideas that came out of the Enlightenment period, and we're going to see another country that wants to have that too next week, the French Revolution. And for the French Revolution, I'm just telling you, I'm going to give you a special video for that one. The video is concise and is hopefully going to explain it in a short and concise way that may be more better than I could do. So that's going to be for next week. But this has been the American Revolution. So again, to all of you watching in the United States of America, happy 4th of July. Celebrate your birth of your country. And next week, we're going to take a look at the French Revolution. So please come back next week. So this is your professor signing off. Take care.